I traveled from Medina to Mecca for business. A few hours later, I had missed my train, my phone was dead, and I only had 100 reals left. Everyone sees their abayas when they arrive in Nigeria. What many people don't see is what it takes to get them. During my Umrah trip, I kept on receiving messages upon messages from people asking for kids' abayas. The requests became so many that I decided to travel from Medina to Mecca specifically to source for kids' abayas. And that decision led to one of the most interesting days of my entire trip. I wanted the full Saudi train experience, and that was the reason why I even wanted to go back to Mecca from Medina. So I made sure that I arrived at the station very early. The train station was so beautiful. It was clean, modern, and peaceful. So for the first time in my life, I had to buy my train ticket using the self-service machine. That was an experience of a lifetime. Just think about it as a giant ATM machine. I wouldn't say it was difficult, but because it was my first time, I asked someone for help. It was quite hands-on with a little bit of back and forth, but then we were able to find our way around it and I got my ticket. And let me tell you something, the train wasn't cheap. My round-trip ticket cost over 400 Saudi riyals. But you see the experience, it was absolutely worth it. As I made my way upstairs to the waiting area, I couldn't stop looking around. Oh my God. It was so beautiful. The architecture was stunning. The view from the escalator alone, it looked like something out of the movie. I sat for a few minutes and soon it was time to board. Unfortunately, I didn't record as I scanned my way through to the boarding area, but it was another beautiful experience on its own. And from the access gate, I made my way to the train and I tried to locate my seat. I eventually found my seat. It looked so comfortable. It had foldable tables, charging ports, and it was so beautiful. Surprisingly, I ended up sitting alone in my section. Can you imagine that? 4 seats, just me. It felt like I had booked a private cabin for myself, honestly. The journey was so smooth, it was fast, and it was beautiful. And before you know it, we arrived in Mecca. Since it was a Friday, my first stop wasn't shopping, of course. You trust me on that. It was Juma prayer at the Haram. I wouldn't miss that opportunity for anything in the world. After the prayer, I went straight to change some money into reals and I officially started my mission. Abaya hunting, shop after shop, plaza after plaza. I was looking for the best designs, the best colors, the best sizes, and most importantly, the best prices. I wasn't just shopping, I was also building relationships. I spoke with suppliers, I exchanged contacts, and I created content while negotiating deals because we had to sell. And you wouldn't believe this, some of the locals knew how to speak Hausa, and this particular supplier was just blowing Hausa non-stop. It was quite interesting. After that, I hopped on another mission, Azurfa rings, because apparently my customers wanted those too. Hours passed. The bags became heavier, the weather became so hot, and my energy slowly disappeared. At some point, I just found myself carrying huge shopping bags on my head and in my hands through the street of Mecca. Well, it's not exactly what most people imagine when they think of Umrah content, but business is business, and all I could think was, Ya Allah, let this effort be worth it. Reward my hustle with success. Ya Allah, don't let me do this in vain. By this point, I hadn't eaten all day, so I finally stopped for one of my favorite meals in Saudi Arabia. Loaded fries and orange juice from Llama Burger. If you ever find yourself at the Clock Tower food court, try it. You will thank me later, trust me. What impressed me even more was their customer service. On one of my previous visits, I bought an orange juice and it turned out not to be fresh. So when I returned this time around, I mentioned it and they didn't even dismiss me. They listened to me, they asked the right questions, and they replaced it with not one but 2 bottles. God, I'm sold. That simple gesture made me a customer for life. After food, I still wasn't done. I visited the popular Bilabam for dessert because after carrying half of Makkah on my head, what do you expect? I deserved a little treat. After that, it was time for my final mission, shipping every single item to Nigeria. Since I had already exceeded my baggage allowance, I headed straight to the Saudi post office and I sent those goods home. In fact, that whole process on its own is a story for another day. It sounds like a perfect ending, right? Not quite. Because by the time I finished at the post office, I had already missed my train. Ya Allah. At that moment, I was so tired. My phone was dead and it was already late. But Alhamdulillah, Allah sent help my way. I kept on chanting Tawakkalitu ala Allah wa la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. Rabbi inni lima anzalta ilayya min khairin fakir. And somehow I eventually made it back to Medina after midnight. I was exhausted, stressed, sleepy, but I was smiling because the mission was complete. I achieved exactly what I wanted to achieve. I didn't just take a train. I didn't just go shopping. I built supplier relationships. I sourced products for my customers, products I myself can use. I experienced one of Saudi Arabia's most impressive train systems. This particular experience will stay with me for life, and I created memories I will never forget. So the next time you see one of my kids' abayas arrive in Nigeria, just know that it probably has a story behind it. And with it, a hopeful and resilient businesswoman who needs your support to make sales and grow a business.